Hi, Aseem. Hi, team.
Hey,
So actually, I have two questions, and the second one is how much risk you take when entering into entrepreneurship from the regular jobs.
so the idea of AI and tool actually was secondary. The original concept, which Ruchika, Mark, and I were brainstorming at a bar while listening to a band in Stamford, Connecticut, was we were trying to come up with something that was outside the box. And the problem we were solving was that rather than waiting for my automation to catch up, we'd built teams in for doing automation, and we'd never been able to get the automation teams to catch up. It was always, if I had a sprint of 4 weeks, then my automation would take another 4 weeks before it would catch up. And that was sort of like the central thought on the problem that we would like to solve. And so, oftentimes in entrepreneurship, the technology, it should not be the primary driver. It shouldn't be like, hey, I can do AI, so let's find a problem that I want to solve. Building a business case that way is very difficult. Here it was more like, this really sucks in the test industry, and I personally have led teams where I'm like, I don't want to wait one sprint to find out if my software works. I want to know the next day. So I said, we would really. So Ruchika was pitching a framework that she was building at that time with Finantrix, and trying to see if we could extend that forward, which was a technology. And I was like, well, technology is cool, but what's a business idea that would be truly dramatic? And the dramatic part for me was being able to solve my sprint problem in one day. So I said, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this in a day? Of course, Ruchika and Mark did the standard answer. Oh, Aseem, you're doing it again. That's completely impossible. There's no way it can be done. It's completely, bah. And we went and listened to the band. And then sort of like the next day, Mark calls me up and says, well, maybe not one day, but if we did things this way, we could, do it. Then Ruchika sort of like chimed in. And if we started structuring things this way, from there, we went to AI and building a framework. And
Right. Next up is Trupti.
Hello everyone. So I know the answer. Still, I'm asking this question. Like in terms of corporate social responsibilities and sustainabilities, what actions and initiatives are doing in our organization that act in our community?
You know the answer, so why don't you say the answer and then I'll add on to it.
First, I know that the women's empowerment, like in our company, after
as you know, except the LATAM team, which it has 4 men at this point in time. Another sort of like discussion point for there when we get there. So yeah, that's been a bit of a focus for the organization. Trupti, as you very correctly said, that women empowerment, particularly for mid-career women who are coming back into the industry, who typically do not get a job or get really bad jobs. I think there's many examples of people that we've been able to make a difference with. We have also tried to figure out ways to try to help ladies who are girls who are younger and do the intake in. At one point in time, we tried partnering with a school in Rajasthan, which has it's an all girls school where girls who've basically been the family has abandoned them, and they're looked after there. We didn't succeed in that because I couldn't figure out a way to how to pick them from where they were and move them forward to the level that we need. I'll probably go back to that particular topic as we move forward to try to help it. We don't have as structured initiatives where people are participating as of yet, which is something that I think on a longer term roadmap I'd like to have happen, where it's not just what the organization is doing, but the individual people on the teams are doing active work to try to help on specific areas in the community. Women's empowerment remains the primary focus that we've had. would like to sort of like elaborate on further on that. And I've always wanted to put a collaboration together with my sister-in-law, who is a fairly well-known filmmaker and director, which is in the same area. Not so much women's empowerment. It was she made a fairly famous documentary on Nirbhaya's case and a couple of others. So maybe figuring out ways to leverage that and also move that movement forward further, where we would be helping her more than anything else, because that's been a cause that she's been pushing for a long time. So, but in general, that's been an area and a topic that we've had a very strong focus within the company, and I don't see that changing. I see more focus being put in. If people have ideas on individual ways they can help sort of like move that, I'm trying not to do what corporate companies do, where you have a mishmash of crap, which doesn't make any sense and nobody's really interested. More focus being put in. If people have ideas on individual ways they can help sort of like move that, I'm trying not to do what corporate companies do, where you have a mishmash of crap, which doesn't make any sense and nobody's really interested. But if you're actually interested and there's an idea to...
So moving on, Karan.
Hey, hi everyone. Hi Aseem.
Hey.
So Aseem, my question for the CEO of the Webomates. More importantly, is there one?
Well, I mean, proudest or the one I had more fun, right? You know, Goa party, Delhi party. You guys know me, right? It's like I felt that those are the true formative experiences for the company. I'm hoping the LATAM party will go in a similar sort of perspective, because we're much bigger than we used to be, right? And we have a lot of fun, but we're also starting to do more and more when we're getting together. And I think that matters. I mean, we don't talk about it much, but even in the Northeast, we used to get together in the US. And so those are the things that I both enjoy them, and I think they're very formative for the company. I'm not sure if I'm necessarily going to be proud of that. It's more sort of like, that's sort of like the culture that we wanted to build, of people getting together every once in a while, trading stories, trading knowledge, in a structured way, more and more what we're trying to do, but at the same time, also meeting everybody, right? For a team that is now increasingly diverse and increasingly spread across the world. I think from a pride perspective, winning AT&T, Comcast, and Air Force, and which one of these days is going to become much bigger for us. Those move that really forward, and it's like sitting right there. I mean, that we'll get a contract and we'll move that forward. But even the SIBR phase 1 and phase 2, startups don't get this stuff. It is the number of companies that are startup level working with the U.S. Air Force is almost nil, and the number of startups working with Comcast and AT&T. I mean, look at what we've done at talking about a division level deal. It's not going to happen now. It's going to take 6 months. Next year's revenue, but it is huge for a startup to be talking to a company the size of Comcast at the level of a division head. So
the first question is, any recent books or movies or TV shows, and why you like that?
Okay. So the first one was easy. This year, for me, it would be Dune 2. I read the books for the first time over 25 years ago. Now they've put funding in for the third one. It was an immediate commercial success. So that would be personal stories.
You could swap jobs with anyone in the company for a day. Who would it be and why? Or you don't want to swap with anyone?
Well, I mean, I probably swap with Preeti on the AI team because I actually really, really like artificial intelligence. Or I'd swap with Salil on the development team because that's a comfort for me, right? I wrote code for years and now I'm not even allowed to check in code because Salil and Ruchika ganged up on me, right? So those are things that, I mean, one is something that I was very, very good at one point in time, and the other is something that I wish I was very, very good at or more. I've often said that if I was to take a sabbatical and the company reached a spot where I could, I would go to Stanford and do another degree in AI because I wish I would really like to learn it far more than I actually understand so far.
Hey, Aseem.
Hey.
Most of the questions that I had thought about, you already answered those. But there's one question which I want to ask now. Like, looking back in your career, so what if there's anything, is there anything, first of all, would you think that you would have done differently in your career?
Yeah, well, this is a regrets question, right? And there's a reason why I wanted to do an AI degree specifically from Stanford, because I've gotten admission there 4 times and due to circumstances not ended up going there. I could have gone to Stanford for my bachelor's. I could have gone to Stanford for my master's in computer science. I could have gone to Stanford for my MBA. And in each, that was the place I wanted to go every single time. And every single time something came up that blocked me from going, this is a bar story at this point in time to elaborate as to why it didn't happen. So if I ever get the time to do it again, the AI degree would be from Stanford and nowhere else. I have no desire because it's been a campus that I've wanted to go and pretty much my entire life.